And what I want to do here is I want to start with Cody. And Cody, you had an example with the biggest company in the world, one of the most popular ones to invest and trade in, that I think is an appropriate example here today. Now, what we do with this might come down to some discussion or some debate, quite frankly, because there's not just one answer.
Absolutely.
There's not just one answer. It's not that if it hits one target, you have to just sell everything and exit. That's always a choice. But let's have a conversation. We're going to start with Apple, then we're going to go to some of Mark and Emily's examples. But Cody, kind of explain your thinking here.
Uh, Definitely want to get to Apple. First, I just want to say, like, Mark's little monologue earlier was beautiful, and I think we need to cut that and put it itself. It is that I thought that was really good. The only thing I wanted to add to it is he kept saying systematically take profit, and that's the idea of moving from potential profit to real profit. You can see a green number on the screen, but you did not make that money until you close the trade, and that's the overall idea of profit taking. I don't care what the number is on the screen. If you don't lock that in, it does not exist. You have to close the trade at the proper time, like Mark explained, in order to take that profit. With that, go into the Apple example. So this morning in the lounge, had a student ask where I would move my stop in this trade. And I asked the student informed me that they got in on the breakout right here, 12:15, which was the perfect technical breakout seen from this pattern. So they got in at the optimal time. And I asked them where they were targeting, and they said they were targeting the previous high. And got into the perfect time, targeted the previous high, and they asked me what I do with my stop. So my advice was I would literally move the stop to today's low, to where if this thing comes back any further, you get stopped out. But the real answer is you got in at the perfect time, it ran up to your target, you take some profit. You don't have to close the whole trade. Maybe you want, estimate it continue to run. But it hit your target. Let's turn some of that potential profit into real profit. And that's what I went over this morning in the lounge. I think I spent a good 15 minutes on that one. I want to get some of the other coaches here's opinions on that piece of advice that I gave.
Well, there's a couple things. Number one, I would not fault somebody on a Tuesday in a light holiday week if they put a trade on and they were thinking swing trade on Apple. If you entered on the breakout thinking, you know what, this is on my watch list, I'm going to play it. I'm going to go long a call or a bull call spread or long equity or whatever version of long delta they wanted to play. It ran up and hit a natural target. And they said, you know what, I'm going to take that off because I want to lock a profit in on a light news week. I would understand the logic behind it. I would also ask them, though, what is your system rule? Like, are you going to do this all the time? Or every time you hit T1, are you going to take it off? Is this T1 or is it T2? And what I mean by T1 and T2, if you're out there, if you've never taken the step system, the way that we teach directional trading, it requires two profit targets. Okay. And one of them is a shorter term profit target that you then evaluate and you apply your rules to. The other one would be a longer term profit target that you're going to work towards if you feel like the trade still has probability behind it, it's smoothly working, all that kind of stuff. I'm looking at this one and I'm a momentum trader. And I probably have a different take than Mark does. Well, I'd love to hear Mark's take. I'm of the mindset in general, especially with momentum, if you're going to play them, to let your profits run and cut your losses short. I'm aware of the red candle. And Cody, to me, if I'm aware of the red candle, but I still want to have the ability to let a profit run, I might do one of two things, maybe one of three things. I would roll a stop loss up. So I'm
Yep.
protecting.
And that was
Okay.
the first answer is move your stop loss up.
So just stop loss management. Based on
Mm-hmm.
my rules, I would stop loss up to protect some of the profit against my exit. I could partially exit. There's nothing wrong with what we call scaling out, where if you have 100 shares, Emily, maybe you sell 50 of them and let the other 50 run with a trail stop towards target two. And in fact, I mean, if you look at your trade journal, and this decision shouldn't be made in a vacuum. I know every now and then we have these one-off decisions we just have to make based on the information we have at the time. But the decision should really be made based on your rules that you've designed from taking courses in education and instruction that you'll consistently apply over time. So I don't think people should be out there just willy-nillying this and just kind of just on the fly, on the seat of their pants, deciding what to do with their trades. So that's one bit of education on that. The third thing I might do, Cody, is convert it into something else. Okay. And those conversion trades are very popular among our pro members. I know Emily loves doing that. A very simple conversion trade would be if you had a long call on the breakout to turn it into a bull call spread. Or if you had shares on the breakout, you could either sell a call, turn it into a covered call, or you could buy a put option, turn it into a caller. I'm not going to go through the detail of that right now. That's where the playbook comes in, and that's where our pro membership comes in the lounges and the shows and all that stuff. But those are some thoughts I had around it. What about you, Emily? I mean, how would you approach profit taking on a stock like Apple that has run up to this high?
Well, it's same answers as you guys. First of all, you look at where you're going to find resistance, and obviously we have that previous high, so that you know off the top of your head that it's going to slow momentum there before it either retraces back or creates a high base and continues on the uptrend. So you have to have that process and make a decision as to what are you going to do when it gets to that resistance level. Are you going to lock in some profit? Are you going to move your stop up, or can you just take your profit and then let the trade reset and then enter it again when it breaks that new high again? So you have to have those levels of what you're going to do. That way, when it happens, you've already made the decision and you're not trying to figure it out on the fly. So for me with Apple, first of all, I love Apple. So for me, what I would do is obviously if it's a directional play, if I just had a straight long call, I would definitely sell a call and try to bring in the premium that I paid for the long call, so that now I'm in it for nothing. And or if I had multiple calls, I would at least take profit on one and then leave the other one up and move my stop loss.
Marky, what are your thoughts on this whole topic?
It's something that Tim said, and this is what I preach whenever I'm talking to someone about directional trading, is consistency is king. It really, really is, because if you're trading for 5, 10, 20 years, the rest of your life, right, you are going to be faced with a similar situation a lot, thousands and thousands and thousands of times, where you're in a trade, you play a breakout, you catch the momentum, and you're up at target one, target two. So you're going to be in this situation a lot. There's my cat just loving life there, using me as a gymnastic springboard.
She was hanging out behind you while you were talking.
And then so I love that little thing. And so like what you don't want to do is do one thing one time, another thing another time, another thing another time, and then just going back and forth. It's not mentally healthy to do that. You're expending too much energy. Now, if you're brand new at trading, I understand you might not get your perfect way at first, and so you have to experiment with a few things. But I would really spend some time being like, and trying something out several times in a row, the same thing, to get a feel if it's part of your personality. Now, me personally, I am a big fan. So you have target one, which is a logical target here in Apple. Really logical target, right? Old previous pivot point, classic target. You expect a little bit of selling at the start. Doesn't mean it's going to hold there, right? Could go up further. But I am a big fan of doing something to lock in partial profits in some manner or another. And so I'm a big fan of something, and maybe that, and I'm not a big move the stop loss kind of guy. If I owned equity, I might buy a put if I was doing it for a position trade to lock up part of the gains and still give myself to run. I'm a big fan of selling calls in this situation on position trades. You move it up, you sell a call, natural resistance point, and if it keeps going, hey, you made even more money. You're happy with that. Scaling out a part of the position, right? Let's say I had 200 shares or 2 option contracts. Taking one off, locking in the profit, letting the other one run to potentially hit target 2. You want to find some balance here in this situation, because those big winners make a big difference at the end of the year. And so you want to find some balance that locks in the money from the expected run, but still gives you a little bit more, something that works for you. And everybody's going to be a little bit more aggressive, a little more defensive, a little bit more prone to take profits, a little more prone to let it run on your personality. But come up with a system that you can rinse and repeat every time that you're in this situation, because you're going to be in this situation a lot, and it will save you a lot of mental grief over the years, and it will make you more profitable. You're never going to have the perfect system that works every time in every circumstance. I mean, that's just not going to happen. But find something that works for you, and you'll be really, really happy with the results, whatever they are.